Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Word Balloon. This is John Suntress with an important plea for 2023. You probably read the headlines. Word Balloon took a sponsorship hit that was pretty significant, and I'm asking you if you've ever been a fan of Word Balloon and considered making a donation through Patreon, a very meager but important subscription. I hope you'll consider it. It's going to be a challenging 2023, and I need your help. So if you like Word Balloon, if you enjoy the content, I'm not going to slow down and keep bringing you some excellent content, but I could really use your help via Patreon, patreon.com/wordballoon. If you can afford the price of a comic book, if you can even afford $1 a month, it would be greatly appreciated and help the cause to keep Word Balloon going at the level and intensity that I've been doing in the last 4 or 5 years, and bring you a lot more content and a lot of great interviews and interesting things about the pop culture world. Patreon.com/wordballoon. I could really use your help. Thank you for your attention, your time, and listening to Word Balloon. Now available to order at your local comic shop, it's Sal Abenante's new graphic novel, The Hostage.
Hostage is set in the streets of Rio de Janeiro, based on the plight of the street children that live in the favelas. In the world of the graphic novel, being murdered daily, and the hostage is the evil spirit that is raised to avenge their death. Origins go all the way back to the indigenous tribes of the Amazon as the spirits that protect children, especially murdered children. The level of death that these kids have to endure every day. They have nowhere to sleep. They have no place to eat. They have to survive off of begging. There were nobody in capes that were coming to save these kids.
Pick up Sal Abenante's latest graphic novel, The Hostage. Order now at your local comic shop through Diamond's Previews catalog. Code DEC221534. In association with Newsarama, welcome again to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. This is John Suntress, and this is Comic-Con week, and so there are always travelers around the Bendis household as Comic-Con gets closer. I don't know if that's true or not, but in this case it was this week, and there's a surprise guest that pops on the show. I think you're going to enjoy it. A freewheeling conversation and more questions from Brian's Jinx World message board, answered here on the Bendis tapes, right here on Word Balloon. We can actually start, because you said you've got announcements.
All right. First of all...
It sounds like he's got a grievance list. All right, kids, here we go.
Right, listen, yeah, I got a shit list here. No, I just wanted to say that since last we talked, the Spider-Woman trailer is online. I know people on the board have seen it, but it came out awesome. It's cool, and you should check it out at Cup of Joe or at Marvel.com, or check my Twitter feed and link it. It's awesome, and spread it around, because this is a major endeavor by Marvel Comics, and a very important one. So I'm really excited about that. Hold on 1 second. Lucky! Oh, he's on crack today. And...
Yes?
And I have a maniac dog in this house
no
that
problem.
I may have to put in a cage because he's losing his mind.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I cage in my house. I mean, not just in general. Cage.
Oh, of course.
Let's see. Powers. A lot of people online and on Twitter keep asking me, so I want to make the announcement clear. Powers is launching a brand new #1 in November.
Right.
Through Icon Marvel. It is celebrating our 10th anniversary. It's a brand new chapter. If you were thinking about getting the Powers, hop on board. If you were all in Powers already, here it comes. We're shipping monthly for many months in a row. We already have many issues done in the can, as they say. And not only in November will the Powers #1 be shipping, but so will the Powers Encyclopedia and the 3rd volume of the hardcovers. And there will be our resolicitation of all the hardcovers and trades coming out through Icon in November. So it'll be in the next catalog, and you won't be able to miss it. But I say that because I'm getting a lot of people asking me. There seems to be some they're not sure what's going on with all the art that's being promoted. And if you want to see a sneak preview of the art for Powers #1, hit my board, It's called Powers of the Pack, and Omega's been posting tons of stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah. Woohoo! I'm so excited.
Well,
hey.
And
I have a question.
Please.
I have a question I already know the answer to.
Go ahead.
John, did you meet Dave McKeon tonight?
Yes, I did. Actually, this weekend, Dave was in town in Chicago for a signing, and he has some new art that he's done, paintings that are based on early 1900s silent horror films. Really cool stuff based on F.W. Murnau's Faust, and a Georges Méliès film. That's the guy who made the original From the Earth to the Moon, where, like, the bullet hits the moon in the eye.
Yeah, see, it really annoys me when an artist of that caliber just kowtows to the most populist thing.
Exactly.
Really,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he turned down that.
What's he going to do next? Transformers?
I was going to say, he turned down that Paris Hilton portrait opportunity to make these fine paintings. And he had a bunch of his short films with him as well. And it was really cool because I had never really seen a lot of his short films. I've seen Mirror Mask, but it was cool how his art style is reflected in a lot of his short films as well. So
Did you get to lock him down for some word balloonage?
Why, yes, I did, Brian Bendis. A fine 10-minute interview.
It's like an infomercial.
And I appreciate that. It's actually the episode that precedes Part 3 of the Bendis tapes.
And how do you get your hair so shiny?
Beer on tap. Wasn't that the shampoo that had beer in it?
There you go.
Well, because I'm stuck in the 70s, so I figured I should do an old product.
You really are stuck in the 70s. That was hilarious.
Prel. I use Prel. Video of the Dave McKean interview is at wordballoon.com and at YouTube, our video page, where we have a bunch of other video interviews as well. And the audio, like I said, is on the RSS feed. It's the episode before the Bendis tape. If you subscribe, you've already got it. If you don't, good opportunity to go and check out the RSS feed. Plenty of stuff. There you go. Wow, good endorsement time, man. Thank you.
All right, talk to you later.
Exactly. Hey, that'll do it for Part 3 of the Bendis tapes because that took 3 hours, didn't it? Everyone's like, shut up and get to it. Who cares? Let's see. No, I had it. Where the fuck is it now? They took down the sticky for the questions, so then I have to search
Hey,
for it.
listen, moderators, don't sticky my stickies. I'll sticky you. You get it? You hear me, Ben Simpson? You, Denny, you think your living room, man. Calm down. He's always worried how neat it looks. It's okay.
We're back. It's question number 29, folks, if you're keeping score at home. And it's Sergeant Pepper 2789.
Again, I'm not sure he's actually a sergeant, but okay.
His location is Strawberry Field.
Yeah.
Bendis, how has your experience working as a journalist impacted your career in comics? Familiar territory, but go ahead.
Well, it did. I think as life goes on, I find that it had a great influence, almost as much as an influence as my time at McDonald's did. And by that I mean, of all the jobs I've had and all the jobs that are in the world, I think that if I didn't end up being a comic book dude, I probably would have tried to make my living in journalism and been found to be a non-spelling, horrible, grammatically unable to write a full sentence failure that I am, but only in comics is that awarded and given prizes to. So it did. You know what? I got to see the world. I got to see what it is to form a story based on actual facts, and it was a great time for me because I was also working on the torso graphic novel, so I had access to things that other people did not have access to. But when I say journalist, let's make it clear, I was not a field reporter. I was not Jimmy Olsen. I was a cartoonist for the Plain Dealer, and I did have this awesome forum in which to express myself and my silliness, some of which was reprinted in the very underrated Total Sellout collection from Image Comics. And
honestly, Brian, for those who haven't seen it, was it editorial stuff or was it just local humor stuff?
It was cool. I'd met my editor at the Plain Dealer. Plain Dealer is the paper in Cleveland, and in my nonstop hustle of getting work anywhere I could that was writing and drawing, I was hustling them left and right for them to hire me to do work, illustration, what have you, and I finally had wore this woman down, and she was an excellent editor of the Sunday magazine. I wore her down, and she gave me an assignment to do an 8-page story about Rolling Stone magazine and Jan Winter and how much damage he was doing to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at the time, or the perception of it. And it was a cover story, and I got to do it, and I literally had to do the whole thing in 2 days, and I did it. And I stayed up all night, literally for 48 hours, and did these giant boards, and I came in, and I did it, and I rocked it. and she rewarded me. She said, "Come back in. We're going to revamp the Sunday magazine. If I gave you a page of the Sunday magazine, what would you do? Because if I see another brownie recipe, I'm going to go insane." And so she was just at this place where she was sick of the mediocre fare that most Sunday magazines and newspapers are. You know, like old women
parade.
Yeah, and it was either parades coming or what would you do? And I pitched this wildly overly ambitious desire to have it be a different kind of cartoon every week. Like sometimes it would be editorial cartoons, sometimes it'd be Spice of Life or autobiographical or just silly, you know, just in different styles artistically, anything I could think of. And it would take a couple months for people to realize, oh, there's no format to this. It's going to be some crazy thing. Sometimes it'd be a serious story about Cleveland. Sometimes it'd be a national thing. Sometimes it'd be just about me and my wife. And I got to do it for about 2 years, which was and I found out early that someone had tried to get me fired about every week.
Wow.
That I from the first cartoon on had been in a great deal of trouble. I did a handful of cartoons. I tried to get like a couple months ahead, much like I do now, and I had handed in like 10 cartoons, and then I went on vacation with my wife, and they decided to run the first one, which is a cartoon I did of the mayor on a bicycle, because I'm a bike rider, and I was riding this bike path that the mayor had built. It cost $1 million that took over the whole waterfront, the whole, the coast of Lake Erie.
Sure.
And it got me literally from downtown to my house, and I was the only person who ever was on this bike path. It was out of the way. It was through a bad neighborhood, but it was a great bike path. It was the best I've ever been on in my life, right? And someone had told me, the mayor did it because it literally goes from his front door to the courthouse. And I go, oh, that's hilarious. So I literally drew him on a Pee Wee Herman bicycle, traveling through this bad neighborhood, happy as a clam. And you see the city burning in the background, which is not far off from what actually happened.
Or Lake Erie burning at times.
And so I had there's a bunnies with guns hiding in the bushes ready to jump people, and squirrels with knives. And it was, it was every joke you can think of. And then I capped it with the fact that our mayor had been married numerous times. And there had been a lot of reports of spousal abuse. Now, I don't remember if it was true or not, or if it happened, but in my head that meant that it was free game. So I had literally had him in a sleeveless shirt with the tattoos of his wife's names crossed out, except for the latest one. So I was just bam, 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 bam. So this is the first one that goes. And it's supposedly it's like an election year.
Okay.
So this cartoon hits the stands. The mayor calls a press conference and blasts me. All I'm out of town.
Did he name you?
We never talked about this on the Verbalin?
I don't remember this story. Okay. No. And did he name you? Did he say Brian Ben?
He's a plain dealer. First they endorse me, and then they go out of their way to sabotage my character and blah 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 blah. And what happened was he was running either unopposed or against. He didn't have much to campaign with.
Okay.
So he was incumbent, and supposedly the way it was explained to me, he was just looking for press, right?
Sure.
So he launched, and then I literally was getting calls on the road. I didn't even have a cell phone at the time. I was getting calls on the road. Hey, call in. And she goes, hey, listen, my editor said you better get in here. And I'm like, what happened? And so I was being called a racist because he was an African American mayor.
Wow.
And he's a racist, so you can't draw an African American at all without it being perceived as racist.
Sure.
But I'm like, and they go, why does this bunny have him? Like people were yelling about it, and then the news picked it up. It was on 6 o'clock news, and it went on for days.
Plain dealer cartoonist Brian Michael Bendis.
No, it was like the ink with the stink at 11. Swear to God, and they would show the cartoon at an angle.
You have definitely never told this
story. And I remember this as I was having so I came home Monday. I went right into the Plain Dealer, and at the time I was all Mr. Leather Jacket all the time with my newly shaved head, and they go they were trying to decide what to do about me, and I go, why don't I just go over there And there was like press outside my house, right? They go, why don't I just go talk to them? And I'll say, I'm not a racist. I mean, look at me, I'm not a racist. I'm a little Jewish boy. You know what I mean? They're like, you're going to come out there with your skinhead and your leather jacket and say, you know.
Yeah.
She goes, no, you're not going to say anything to anybody. And like the morning show, the local zoo was calling me. And,
hey, Brian Michael Bendis, how's it feeling? Give it to the bear, man.
Yeah, and I'm a Howard Stern guy, and I hung up. Baba Booey.
Exactly.
No, so it was really weird, and they told me, don't talk to anybody, stay out of it, let it blow over. And so Tuesday comes. I remember I sat down with a Mr. Hero sandwich in my studio. My wife is at school. I turn on news radio because I love news radio. I'm going to relax. I turn it on, and literally, just before the show comes on, they give you the little teaser for the 11 o'clock news. They go, coming up at 11, the ink with the stink. And I'm like, with my mouth hanging open, I'm looking with the sandwich almost in my mouth, like, I cannot believe I just saw that, right?
Spit take, absolutely.
Yeah, and my mom calling, going, what did you do? Like, you know. So this went on, and thank God the Indians won the pennant that night, and the story went away.
That's outstanding.
Literally, the Indians won that night, and like it never happened.
Wow, just like Mark Sanford and Michael Jackson.
Like Mark, exactly. So, except the difference is I didn't then run out to the press and go, wait, I have black jokes.
Yeah, I'd like to explain my love for this Argentinian woman, please. Yeah,
so,
wow, man.
Anyway,
hilarious.
So that went out. So I didn't get fired. She really backed me up, and there's quite a few times where I would do or say something that would get me in trouble. I had to meet with the Anti-Defamation League for what was perceived to be anti-Semitic joke. I made a joke about, it was a cartoon about me and my wife's honeymoon, where I said we had the traditional Jewish honeymoon. We sat on the bed and counted our money, and I thought, because I'm wearing a yarmulke in the cartoon, I thought, Jews are allowed to make Jews jokes.
Absolutely, yes. Rule. Yes.
So
Mel Brooks has lived by that for 80 years. Go right ahead.
I sit down, they go, and then the next Tuesday, come on in, the Anti-Defamation League wants to yell at you. I go, but I'm Jewish. They go, you have to come in.
Awesome.
So I come in, he sits me down, and I go, listen, I went to the Hebrew Academy in Cleveland. I am bar mitzvahed. I am circumcised.
You dropped your pants.
My father-in-law is a rabbi. I don't know what the hell I got to do. I thought that's a rule. And the guy goes, yeah, just don't do it again. So a lot, that was things I knew about. I found out later things I didn't even know about. There was one, like sometimes I would use swear words, but I do the cartoon swear words.
Sure.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes, absolutely.
A wing-ding swear word.
Okay, so like they didn't even spell anything. It'd be a lightning bolt and the pound sign and the exclamation point.
And a man would rip out the cartoon, circle it, right, you goddamn pouty mouth, and mail it back to the paper.
Hilarious.
All right, with not even with the irony of you just swore at me and I didn't swear at you.
Yes, exactly.
But so this is the long answer to what I learned is, no matter what you write in public, half the people reading it will be vehemently in disagreement with whatever you said, especially if it's about sex or politics or religion. And no matter what you write, someone's going to get upset. And that is the most freeing thing that ever happened in my life. So when I came into Marvel with this very new knowledge, I was able to then take that when people were bashing me for whatever. I'd be like, yeah, that's what happens. You wrote something, and someone's going to be mad. The end.
Now that's a good tangent. Attaboy. All right. You see, now he's back, kids.
Let me pause it, or maybe I'll take you with me because my freaking dog's going insane.
You want to pause?
Well, let's see if I make too much noise while I'm doing this. I don't know how entertaining this might be.
Buster, shut up!
Yes. No, this is Short Round Bendis, our new dog.
Good name.
Short Round. My daughter named her Short Round. It's the most proudest moment of my entire...
Continues to be the coolest 5-year-old in the class.
Yeah, she goes... First she was going to name it Indiana Jones, decided it was too silly, and then said Short Round. So I was very proud. I won't lie to you.
Atta girl. Way to go, Olivia.
All right.
Bendis, do you feel that comics have better adapted to the changes brought about by the Internet than other print media? And, we started on this tangent, but then we got off subject. So that's why I ask it again.
I think so. I do. I think what it did was it took something that was very personal, very intimate. A lot of people would be the only comic book fan in their peer group. And now there's a community, like a damn big community.
Absolutely.
And so that's a big thing. And the comics, I don't think they've changed. I don't think many successful comics are being written specifically, for the internet community or to answer the internet community. And I know that sometimes that some of my peers have tried to do that and failed desperately. But as far as what I think it's brought the community together. I think it's by and in a sense made nerd cool.
I know. Yeah,
and that's amazing. I've said before on this very podcast. For me, I've talked to. I think I told you, Bill Sienkiewicz told me he had no idea anybody liked him because there was no way to know.
Right.
He would draw new. I'm sitting at home reading New Mutants, going, Jesus Christ, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. He's at home going, I hope anyone likes it. I mean, he got a couple letters, but he doesn't find out for a decade that he was causing a whole generation of people to lose their shit.
Absolutely.
So and Howard Chaykin's told me the same thing. And now, my peer group, we get instant feedback, for better or for worse, we get to hear right away, yay or nay. So it's, I think that's good. I think it keeps a lot of people more honest than they would, and I think almost to the point where we want to yell out sometimes to people online, going, "You don't know how lucky you got it, you sons of bitches."
Absolutely. Well, and from the other standpoint, Jeff Parker and I were talking about how wouldn't it be
just over here for dinner tonight.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
One of my favorite people. He made a very good point about, hey, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it have been great to have websites and podcasts and things back in the 70s and 80s to hear as they were happening? Brian Boland talking about Camelot 3000 and, you name it, any project from Will Eisner going on and about coming back with a contract with God and stuff. And, Well,
I wrote in the poorly received humor issue of What If that I did with All-Star Gallery.
Oh, I remember that.
Tom Brevoort wrote "What if the internet existed in the 60s, 70s, and 80s?" And I think we were right on the money.
I remember that absolutely. Well, yeah, there's always snarkiness. Although, again, we had editors. We had the Marty Pascows and the Bob Rozakises, and forgive me, I'm not coming up with any Marvel associate editors of the 70s that were able to sift through the mailbag, and you'd only read, when are we going to see Red Kryptonite again?
Well, in the most ill-fitted attempt to shoehorn my special guest into the conversation,
please,
I'm going to introduce to you a man who actually his whole life changed because of the internet. Not only did he come up with a fake name for himself that became his actual name, but he met his wife on the internet.
No way.
Yes, and he's sitting in my basement here in the David Mack chair. And here he is. I'm putting him online here. Here you go. Hi, John Huntress. It's Matt Fraction.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Drunk Orson Welles, but hey, Matt, how are you, man?
Oh, I love the internet. I'm available. So many pornography films I've downloaded for free off of the internet.
And that's how the internet changed Matt Fraction.
Well, good to hear from you, Matt, and enjoyed recent podcast panels that we heard from Heroes Con. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Pugnacious, Pugnacious Matt.
Matt got Matt Brady right out of comics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, way to go, Matt.
But it's not true.
It's not true. And no, Matt, and I'm sure everyone's read about it. Matt Brady has left Newsarama. We all wish him well. I know, and I'm speaking for the Newsarama people who have professed that sentiment already online. And I'm taking this opportunity to say, good luck, Matt. You're a great guy, and it was a pleasure working with you.
We've lost one of the good ones.
No, he's a hell of a writer. He really is. And
he's not dead.
No, he's not. No, he's not dead, but he is leaving comics.
He's
so,
dead to us.
And I'm sure.
He's dead to me.
I'm sure he'll be at Heroes Con as a fan, and hanging out, or maybe he'll take 10 years off. Who knows?
He might need a couple years off.
But no, that's great, man, and it's good to hear from you, Matt.
How is he going to fill the hole in his life created from not having to look at that fucked up message board?
Exactly. You know what I think?
What could possibly fill the life of people yelling at him for the free service of Newsarama?
Married. I know he has at least one kid, and that's great. His 1+ children, and his wife will treat him well.
I don't think that'll do it. I think he'll need at least 9 children yelling at him at once.
Oh, man. Matt, what's...
He starts trying to pick fights with his kid.
How are things in Utopia?
Good, done. On my part, yeah.
Cool.
At least my part's done.
Excellent. Matt, are you going to San Diego? I know Brian is not.
I am. I'm in Portland. I'm going from Portland to San Diego. So,
cool.
I will be there
Oh, God help me, imminently.
Well, he's not going as a pro. He's actually president of the Kansas City Twilight fan club.
Oh, fantastic!
Getting together for the.
Is that true?
I don't know if you've seen my dreamy sideburns, but they are pretty dreamy.
And he is vice president of the Furry Orgy Coalition that gets together.
Well, it's not really. I mean, president implies that there's a hierarchical structure, when in fact it's much more of a kind of orgy collective. It's like a co-op, but with boners.
Is that how we met?
Boner co-op.
Well, I'd say it's him, Rich Johnson.
Oh, hang on, I have to register boner co-op. Give me 1 second. Bonercoop.biz.
Alex Believe got that like 5 years ago.
Is that where you met Kelly Sue then? Yeah. Well, tell me about this meeting around the internet
co-op?
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I met Kelly Sue at the Boner Co-op.
Not the Boner Co-op. No, how did you meet her on the internet?
I met her actually, she was a poster on the Warren Ellis forum.
That's hilarious.
As was I. And I came, this is where it gets really weird, is I came to Warren's work through a friend of mine who was really into it. And I was in art school at that point and had sort of drifted. It was one of those sort of comics was bad. Lots of mainstream comics was real bad. Thanks a lot at this point. I mean, this was I don't know. This is even before.
This is back in 2005.
Yeah, exactly. House of How do you say that?
Nice.
But a friend of mine recommended Warren's work, and it was through me going and digging into Warren's work, which at that point he'd just come on Stormwatch. Got me into Warren's work, and then led me to Warren's forum, because Warren would always mention in the letter columns the forum. In my day, there were letter columns in the comic book. And Warren would always run the URL of his forum, and I eventually checked it out. And she was there, and that was how we met.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And then, as it turned out, that friend who recommended Warren to me was actually a friend of Kelly Sue's, unbeknownst to me.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and and at that point, there was deafening silence on your end. And
well, that's why I gave you the. That's funny.
He was
really
rushing to the internet because he didn't know that any of them were actually girls.
Yeah, exactly.
He was very excited.
Hey, man, sadly, I can attest to that. I got a bunch of people when I was meeting David McKean last night coming up and going, I really like Word Balloon, and they were all men. And that's too, and if I were gay, it'd be fantastic, but I'm not. So, but nice meeting you anyway, kids.
Stop being such a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Maybe this is the universe's way of giving you a sign.
Is it? Yeah, okay, I guess so. Thank you. But is there anything you can talk about that won't wait? Are you making big announcements in San Diego, my friend?
What? Yeah.
Okay.
What's happening at San Diego?
Hey, what are you? Not something, right?
Wait, I think.
I would assume.
What am I going? Hang on, let me have to pull up Let me pull up the schedule and see.
Okay. And I know...
you got the list.
I was going to say he's got a list.
I can't talk about the list because the list comes directly out of Exodus, which is the end of X-Men Dark Event.
Who's your artist on your list?
The list is being drawn by Alan Davis. Cool. Or has been drawn by Alan Davis.
Outstanding.
We were the first one in, the first one done, and the first one we can't talk about.
Okay.
Everybody else can talk about theirs. I can't even talk about the setup of mine.
Mine is completely done, and it's really awesome.
Who do yours?
Marco Djurjevic.
Yeah, Djurjevic.
And then,
did you say so?
He did it better than us.
And Mark Morales is inking it, and it's quite scrumptious, man. He was quite a pleasure.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Quite a lovely walk in the park that man was.
Yeah, I got to work with Alan Davis again.
Sorry.
Screw you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't get him.
Yeah.
Wow.
He doesn't want the talking heads or something. I don't know.
Man, loved him for decades. He's a hell of an artist.
Me too.
He's amazing.
Me too.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. And I'm excited to see what happens with the lists. And we've got a talk planned, Matt, late summer when the smoke clears from
the end, when I can actually talk about the list. And
cool.
Oh wait, I worked with him once. I forgot. Sorry.
Who did you and Alan? And I'm forgetting. What did you and Alan do?
It's actually not widely known, but the first Spider-Man movie adaptation that was written by Stan Lee was also ghostwritten by myself a little bit. Stan was unavailable for rewrites and approved me doing it, but I didn't put my name. It says thanks to me, but I didn't take a writing credit because it wasn't certainly adapting someone else's adaptation of someone else's work.
Sure.
That was an adaptation of the original author's work in the first place. It seemed that putting the written by credit on it was quite a stretch.
I understand. Yeah, I believe I came up with Crusher Hogan. Thank you.
I'm just rearranging things. I'm not exactly actually crafting sentences here.
Sure.
So So that was, and Alan Davis drew that.
That's cool.
So suck it. I don't know who.
Excellent.
Someone somewhere should be sucking it.
Matt, any recent documentary recommendations?
What did I see?
Deep Throat.
No.
I saw Last of the Asbury Jukes, Morgan Freeman's blues bar that he owns, right by where Robert Johnson supposedly made his deal with the devil at the Crossroads.
Morgan Freeman, like narrator of everything. Morgan Freeman. Did he narrate his own documentary about his own blues club?
The Penguins love to come to my
Around
blues
that
bar.
time, I thought it was time to buy a jazz and blues club.
And he always enjoyed coming to my juice box. My
Matt's got a lot of recommendations.
Oh yeah, let's see here.
Just off the top of your head, what do you think?
Well, King of Kong was my favorite movie last summer.
Excellent. That's cool.
What about Crazy Love?
Was that any? Oh, that's the movie about the guy who throws the acid in the lady's face, and then they end up getting married.
Yeah, they met on the Warren Ellsworm too.
That's right.
I don't know that movie. I'm thinking of that Drew Barrymore movie where she's crazy or whatever.
I saw a really great Sam Fuller, A Life in Pictures.
Very cool. Yes, seen that as well.
Yeah, Sam Fuller telling stories of how you make pictures.
Hey, did you guys see?
What else are you thinking about?
How about the filmmakers that came from Germany in the 30s and stuff to change Hollywood? I thought that was really
great.
cool.
That was really good too.
Took me a long time to see it.
3.5 hours long.
Yeah,
by the way, the last time John such.
I'm pretty sure that Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles is not actually a documentary.
Are you sure?
I don't think that's happened.
Okay. I gave him a
stack of DVDs. It's like, here. What about these?
He seemed to be. He was. I thought he was.
I'm in the process of moving, so I'm a little.
I can appreciate that. A little culture shy while you're packing boxes. I understand. I've been following the
I gave
progress.
him a pile of documentaries for him to read off, like he just thought of them.
Oh, good.
In the pile was Terminator, Sarah Connor, which I didn't even know I had. I've never seen that show.
How did that get in there?
I don't know.
It must have been stuck to another good DVD.
I don't know if you could tell from looking at this wall here. I have a problem.
Listen, if that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah, I have issues. I have problems.
Well, that's what's keeping me from Blu-ray is my mountain of DVDs. I understand. I mean, I just, I'm like, great. I just, like, restocked
John,
in this
life
technology.
Isn't complete until you've triple dipped on the third man. Okay?
Exactly, man. No, I did it with music. Never again, man.
Life isn't complete until you double dip on the Hulk movie that just came out because you're not sure if you like it more on Blu-ray or DVD. And then Marvel goes, oh, hey, you want one?
Here's one.
On top of the ones you already bought.
Hey, great.
You forget that you work for Marvel and maybe you'll get one, but now you're going.
Hey, can we comment on current news? Jeff Johns possibly producing a Flash movie? I know that's across the street, but I think that's kind of cool.
I don't know what any of those words mean that you just said.
Nice.
Who? No, I'm thrilled. Yeah, this is the way it's going to go, man. As predicted here on this podcast. The dam is burst. These guys are going to figure out, why would you spend millions of dollars hiring someone to imitate Jeff Johns when Jeff Johns is standing there? Hire him.
It's that Barton Fink thing, we get a room full of guys that can give us that Barton Fink feeling, but as you're Barton Fink, we assume you have it in spades. Like,
Yeah. No, so that actually it's thrilling news, and every move like that, I think, is a positive one.
Very cool.
So, yay.
And then there's a little nugget buried in that article that they'd quietly hired Jeff and Grant Morrison and Marv Wolfman last year, all of them, to kind of act as consultants or producers. Or
I saw that as well.
Buried in the very last graph of the story in the Hollywood Reporter Variety. That's really interesting. So imagine that right now,
they are pitching the
Grant Morrison is
crossover.
pitching the Batman movie, or Marv Wolfman is
or the largest crossover crises ever in the history of
Exactly. In Your Face Avengers movie opening summer 2012, Crisis open summer 2013.
That's right.
Do we continue with the mailbag with Matt chiming
I can hop off. I was just sort of hanging out.
I'll throw him on if we.
Give me a shot. I'll hop on. I'll have the phone here, and I'll hop on.
Okay,
John,
very good.
Pleasure as always. I look forward to talking to you in August.
As always, Matt, and I hope to see you soon as well as talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, sir.
My pleasure, man. All right, back to it, kids. I know, because half of people are really excited about that, and the other half are like, we get back to the questions, please. So,
yeah.
ARG, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. B, I'm curious. You've most recently been chatting Norman Osborn's sudden rise to and potential fall from power. I'm wondering if there's a parallel there with your life, meaning your sudden rise to creative dominance at Marvel. You have to admit your ideas have been the driving force for most of the stories over the last few years. You are literally creating jobs. Obama would be proud. And I wonder if that experience is either subconsciously or consciously being expressed in your current work. In interviews, you've expressed that you are aware that your time on top will be finite, as it is with everyone. What other life experiences have found their way into your work?
Now, he's talking about Norm, like, and I think the parallel between Dark Reign.
Yeah, do you have a schizo voice, like freaking out every now and then?
It's an interesting premise that immediately falls apart upon any type of examination. Clearly Jeff Loeb is Norman Osborn, not me. No, but no, the guy asked me if he sees any correlation between Dark Reign and my existence in comics. And that I've risen to power, and clearly there's going to be a fall coming. So, no, I don't have a self-destructive inner goblin voice telling me what to do. Well, I do, but there's nothing I can't control. Nothing that gets in the way of everyday life as a father and anything. So
you have said though,
and I'm under contract.
Well, that's good. But you have said that you're breathing rarefied air, and I know that.
Sure, absolutely. No. There's half a point there.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit for half a point. And I also think I'm using my powers for good.
There you
Maybe. Go. I don't know.
Well, so does Norman, according to you, sir.
Yes, that's right. All right. Settle down over there. What do you want from me? I know I'm out the door. No, I have. Yes, it's show business, and it cycles and whatever, man.
Also, can you have Mike start drawing, or actually, I guess in this case, well, no, it would be Mike still, Mike Deodato, drawing Novar in the Janice Vell costume. And I'm sure I'm saying those names wrong.
Yeah, you are. No, you're saying them right. No, we a lot of discussion has been had about Novar's bicycle pants and what to do with them. If I knew J.G. Jones better, I would flat out ask him what the hell was going on there. It does seem like an odd choice for him. He's an excellent designer. We've given him full mad pants. If you're looking for some sort of mirror to my life, I recently had an intervention. I had an intervention with my friends, David Mack and Mike Oming and others, that sat me down and told me to cut it out with the shorts in public. That I should put on big boy pants, and that I make a nice living, and to stop dressing like them.
Yeah, very few legs hold up after 40.
And or Robert Kirkman. So I said, you're right, and I started wearing big boy pants, and then we put big boy pants on Marvel Boy. So there's
your life correlation. There you go. Don't look to Norman, look to Marvel's pants. Very nice.
I am Marvel Boy. That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, and then he had. That was it. All right, Shepard, actually from Busan, South Korea. Interesting. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll take his word for it.
Of course it's true. When it's true or not. Who lies about that?
Well, that's funny because sometimes someone will say,
the global community of fans have come together.
Yes, sir, you don't have to. Word balloon fans span the globe, not only Bendis tape fans, but other fans as well. You're absolutely right.
I don't care about those other people.
I know you don't. Dina's story seems to kind of have ended with the last issue of Powers Volume 2. Is she going to be back for Volume 3? This is a good question. If so, will she be a major player or a minor player, or is that too spoilery?
It's too spoilery, but she will be back.
What comic book movie that hasn't been made and isn't being made would you like to see? That's a good one.
Torso.
Nice.
Directed by David Fincher in black and white.
In
fact, I remember the day before Christmas last year, someone called me and told me it was greenlit. And then it wasn't.
And that was in the middle of our last Bendis tape session. Is there and I know that things were kind of in limbo and looking doubtful, so that's obviously changed for the worse.
It did. It was weird. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we were called and officially greenlit.
I remember.
And a week later, we were ungreenlit. And it had to do with things going on way behind the scenes with not the major players. So it just went away, and so it happens to be that the people who were running Paramount at the time are no longer there.
Okay.
And
we all know what happens when that happens.
Yeah, that's public news, and one of the reasons they weren't there was for not greenlighting anything. They greenlit no movies, except for the last Airbender.
Yes, 25% less movies this year or were greenlit since the economy dropped and everything.
Yeah, but what's funny is that you can't make any money if you don't greenlight anything.
Exactly,
so
yes.
That guy was ousted.
So there's still things going on. It's not dead. The fight is still happening, and a lot of news happened this week that I'll wait to see if it's true or not.
Okay.
I tend to just get a little zen about it and go, that would be great. I just go, anytime someone tells me something, I go, that would be great.
Still at Paramount or somewhere else? And you don't have to get specific, but
I'm not at liberty to say, but
okay.
The rights did revert back to us, so
okay.
We have a little bit more control over some of the shenanigans as they proceed.
I understand.
Yep.
We move on to Ked.
And the shenanigans will be proceeding. David Fincher was a cool guy, that I'll say. It's one of those people you meet that you worship, and then you're glad you met them. Sometimes you meet people and you go, oh, I wish I never met you. He was interesting and fascinating guy who taught me a lot in the short conversations that we had.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This is from Ked from the San Francisco area, and he says, thanks again for this chance to interact. And Ked, it was a pleasure meeting you at WonderCon. In fact, at a Matt Fraction panel.
Yeah.
Mr. Bendis, could you take us through your process?
You know that wasn't really Matt Fraction before.
Boy, that was an incredible facsimile.
That was Ed Brubaker, who's an incredible Matt Fraction.
Hey.
Oh, you guys want to talk to Ed Brubaker?
Yeah. Hey, is Brew around?
Hey, Ed, get on the phone. Hey.
Ed, hey, man, I'm really excited to hear about the Criminal Omnibus.
I'm excited about Angel of Death.
Yeah, at San Diego. I don't know. I think Sony's doing... I've lost it a little bit. All right.
Thank you. Brian, can you take us through your process?
What would it be if Ed Brubaker had a talk with Walter Matthau? I think that would be like...
I enjoy your work. I understand your...
Matt's not a dancing monkey. He just give me the finger. He do it.
I was ready.
Yeah.
All right.
I will tell you that the highlight of the Ed Brubaker impersonation is when Ed started imitating Matt doing Ed at the retreat.
Hey.
Not kind of realizing what he was doing, and that was funny.
God.
It's very hard to picture, I know, but it was yeah, he started doing himself in a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's like, and once I hear somebody break a voice, I'm like, okay, fine, now I gotta, like, study that. Like, Jamie Foxx was on Conan explaining how he imitates Obama, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And literally, I'm like listening to that, and I'm nowhere. It's not ready for prime time, but I do. I always get excited when someone like presents a new voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, I understand exactly.
I'm just amazed that you made a reference to something that happened this decade.
Hey, man, see, I pay attention.
I remember when Dean Martin was on Johnny Carson, and boy, that was
exactly flicking his ass.
Flicking his asses, and George Gobel.
George Gobel, you see, and you know it. That's why you're a poser, man, because you're right there in 1962 with me. Can you take us through your process of breaking and developing a story through the first draft? Really, Ken? I mean, you know.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't have a set way that I do it, so that I don't have a great answer. There's an essay on my website that you can go to that talks about writing in general. But I find that when people have a way they break a story, that this is what they do, they end up writing the same story over and over and over again, and not completely interested in that, even though there's themes and ideas that I keep returning to because I'm haunted, like every writer. But I sometimes I break a story by really beating out the beats, and you can see a version of that on Tom Brevoort's blog this week at Marvel.com. He's been posting the different, how Secret Invasion kind of birthed itself out of different drafts of things and things that were decided upon or left behind, and other things. Sometimes I kind of know what the story's about and take the characters for a spin to see what'll happen, and then start building the story. You know, it really, really depends. But most importantly, you have to know why you're telling the story and where you're going. Those are very, very important. I know that sounds, of course, silly, but some people do start stories and have no idea why they're telling them, and sometimes, and as contradictory as I am about to sound, sometimes that's the right thing to do, because sometimes you have to let the characters go for a spin so you can figure out who they are, you know?
He wants to, and I know Ked is serious about being an aspiring writer, so
yeah. Ked, I'll tell you, there's many books on the subject, but the thing I just read this week that I loved was someone gave it to me for Christmas, and I just was sitting here, and I didn't think much of it. there is a making of the Indiana Jones movies, a big giant book called The Complete Making of Indiana Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the most exhaustive, detail-oriented look at the process from the very, very beginning to the very, very end. Everything is chronicalized. Everything is shown, including, and this is floating online too, this 19-page
open discussion.
The open discussion between Lucas, Spielberg, and Kasdan.
Yes.
About Indiana Jones and what it means and what the story. And it's them breaking the story out loud. It's them breaking the story, and it's the notes of that meeting.
That's cool.
And how they took those characters for a spin. And maybe Marion should be the villain.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe the head Nazi's a French guy, and the French guy's a Nazi, and all these ideas and set pieces, and some of which made into the next movie, some of which were just abandoned. And because we're kids at this age, Raiders of the Lost Ark seems like this perfectly formed action movie, right?
Yep.
And then when you see three storytellers trying to figure it out,
and the misfires,
man. It makes you relax a little bit, because when you're trying to break a story and you're trying to note out a story or note out what the characters are trying to figure it out, you think, man, why can't I figure this out, or why isn't it coming to me right away, and what's the right why can't I just create Indiana Jones, or it seemed to appear out of thin air in perfect form, right? But it wasn't. In fact, up until filming, he was like a womanizing scumbag. Until Harrison Ford kind of stepped in and said, "Wow, that's not interesting," But I reading this book and all the decisions that could have been made or not made, it's fascinating. So I recommend that if you want to kind of inspire yourself to break a story.
That's cool. In my last talk with Rucka, he mentioned the Kasdan, Spielberg, Lucas conversation. So that's
it makes
really cool.
any writer feel better. Maybe writers that have finished a few things. You think, why isn't this any easier than the first day I did it? And then you realize, it wasn't any easier for them at all. It makes you just feel better.
I want to stay on the first question for Kent, because he has a very specific point. Now, if you have an answer to this, is there a difference between your process for a single issue versus a larger arc? Can you speak to that?
No.
Okay.
No, I can't. Other than the fact that you're getting to maybe a simpler point.
Well, that's what I was going to wonder in terms of
story issues and the full-blown epic stories, like the Free Comic Day story was all in one issue, and I've done intimate stories that took a few issues. So there's not really.
Okay.
It just again,
less
most
beats.
of it is it's what's the point of this? Why am I doing this?
Okay.
And sometimes I'm amazed some writers don't do that. They don't really take a moment to think about what they're doing. They're just going, this is writing zombie porn or something.
It is, but there are less.
Nothing wrong with that.
Are there less beats? Are there less than 22 beats for a 22-page story?
I don't know. There's no right answer.
Okay.
This is the frustrating thing. Everyone, sometimes people, while they're searching for answers, they're looking for some mathematical formula that creates the perfect story. There is none.
Okay.
And I knew someone in my life who actually drove themselves crazy trying to find it. It was kind of like A Beautiful Mind, And there is no right or wrong answer. There's no perfect way to tell a story. There's things that work, like a 3-act structure, and it works, and you should study it, and you should figure out how it works and why it works and how it works for you, and then you decide how you can interpret it and break it and put it back together.
Sure.
But so you have to learn. I tell them, man, read Story by Robert McKee.
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard this before. It's the best book on the subject because it's the best written book on the subject. The other books about writing, there are other books about writing that are so goddamn boring.
I completely agree.
How could you write about this subject and be boring the shit out of me?
From writers you really respect. I know of comedy writers that have written brilliant, they've written brilliant comedy, but not so brilliant books on how to write comedy.
Yeah.
So, I understand. And this is a good question, and I know you've answered it before, but it's worth repeating. Any advice for those of us that are aspiring comic creators when it comes to getting our limited products out into the world? I've been giving my mini comic out to anyone that makes the mistake of sitting still too long, including Matt Fraction and Ed Brubaker, but I'm wondering what else I can do, and I think I know one of your answers to that.
Well, publish it on the web.
Yep.
Create your own little universe on the web there. If I was up and coming, I absolutely would do this. Your portfolio is now one click away from anybody you needed to get it to. Whether they'll click on it or not, it's up to you. But in the old days, all you had to do was to publish it. But really, you can create your own little universe. Your own little Warren Ellis world or
Sure.
King's world or something. You can do this by yourself.
And
You should, and there's nothing stopping you at all.
Yeah, and I would say too, with the coming answers, we covered this in part one of our conversation, but with the different platforms that are being developed for digital comics, I think more important than ever it is to have a free product or a free sample, but then also that you don't have to worry about stapling the mini comics anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
as much.
Print media will be dead on October 22nd.
No, I don't mean that. Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, I got the memo.
Well, but honestly, for the independent creator, I do think that the digital, comics, it's the best possible thing that could have happened. And so.
Absolutely.
Jeffrey Longmont. Thanks, John and Brian, for doing this again. I'll be sad when John finally wises up and charges money for these. Not going to happen, Jeffrey. Don't worry about it.
I'm amazed.
That's what sponsors are for. No, man, I'll get my money somehow, but as far as I'm concerned, the user should not have to pay for it, and maybe it's because I've enjoyed television and radio for most of my adult life and childhood. So, there you go. There's a plus for being an old man. One, how much extra text do you put into your scripts that doesn't make it to the page, like jokes, encouragement, or extra detail just to put the artist in the proper perspective?
Tons. Tons. I was writing silly jokes to David LaFuente last night. Just images and ideas that get him in the mood. Not to Indiana Jones again, but there was a shot. Spider-Man turns around and sees something coming at him, and I wrote like Indiana Jones turning around to see the boulder. You know what I mean? But I would never put that in. Meanwhile, Spider-Man turns around like Indiana Jones to see the boulder. So yeah, there's sometimes a little doodads and whatnots. It's the best part. It's the thing when I'm working on screenplays. It's the thing I miss the most because you were absolutely not allowed to do that in the screenplay. That is called amateur city. But in comics, whatever you need to communicate to the other people making it to do their job is fair game.
Only post from Mike Berry. He's only put one post up, and he's from Sydney, Australia. Hi, Brian. Any chance if you'll ever come to Sydney, Australia, that is?
I have been to Sydney twice in my life, and I loved it, and I was invited to go this year, but I could not go, and I offered to come next year. So if that is still available next year, if they come around again, I will come, because I went twice. I went once by myself and once with my family, and it is a magical, awesome place. And boy, do they love their comics in Sydney and in New Zealand. And that is one of those places where you land there and you go, I cannot believe comics brought me all the way to fucking New Zealand. And then you rent a bike and you go for a long bike ride on the coast and you go, look where the hell I am. That's awesome.
I can only imagine, because the few Australian listeners that I have, I don't think I've gotten any New Zealanders yet, but the Aussies that have emailed me, I really appreciate it. And it blows especially being an old radio guy, it blows my mind that I'm on the other side of the world and somebody in Australia gives a shit about what I'm doing.
You can't even walk. Man, if you showed up in Sydney, you wouldn't even walk the streets.
Awesome,
there, man. You are.
Am I a god in Australia? Is that true?
Non-such mania. It's taken over. Melbourne, they kind of can't stand you, but in Sydney,
there you go.
Holy shit!
Nicholas Scott likes me.
They do. No, they in the park. They have they do word balloon readings. They just have people dressed as you.
Hi, did you hear the last word balloon? It was great. That was wonderful. All right.
You doing voices.
Say? That's my Paul Hogan for you, kids.
Yeah. And before I had moved to Portland, where you would see this often, I was in New Zealand riding my bike, and you would see kids reading comic books outside without society shunning them.
That's good.
And hitting them with things. So I remember I stopped my bike and stared at it because I'd never seen it before.
For real? That's awesome.
No, they were sitting there. I saw a boy and a girl reading an issue of Grant Morrison's X-Men and discussing it as they were reading it together. And I literally stopped my bike and went, what the fuck is going on? Because I'd never seen that. And this is the same guy who was, not the day before, on the plane reading a comic book as if he was reading a porn.
Yeah, you got to hide it with Time Magazine or something wrapped around it.
So, but in Portland you see it a lot, but I never saw it before that.
Very cool. He asks also about covers. He loves the Powers covers. In your opinion, what considerations go into making a great comic book cover?
I think not a lot of people do this, but a comic book cover is supposed to be an actual book cover, and book cover has an art form into itself, and you should be able to see, it should catch your eye from across the room and catch your eye in your hand and captivate you and want you to make you open the book. And these are simple, read Chip Kidd's book on book design. It show you how to do it. That is why the Powers logo is so large, because that's how you get people to go, oh, there's Powers.
I also,
to this day, I love when you go in the store and you can see that logo from a mile away.
David Mack does beautiful covers, I really like what's been happening really since the 80s and on in terms of guys like Tim Bradstreet and David McKean. And also, I really wanted to point out when Joe Casey and Richard Starking's Comic Craft guys get together, there's always a very interesting cover. And I think even beyond just wonderful art, I think a lot of interesting things are happening with covers these days.
Yeah, and even as we speak, I swear to God, as we speak, the French publishers of Powers just sent me cover design for approval, and it's awesome.
Does Mike do anything different for the French, or do they take the existing art and do crazy stuff?
They take existing, and they always make it much better than what we do.
Cool. No, well,
every foreign edition is better than the American edition.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I remember in the 80s seeing all the annuals that would come over from overseas, and just be blown away. And it's like, wow, look at that hardcover of the X-Men. That's crazy.
Yeah, and every once in a while, some of it slips in here, like the Ted McKeever hardbacks are really nice. They're very European looking.
Cool.
I think that's the direction we're gonna do. Is Iron Man hardcovers like that too? Matt's talking to us as if we're not.
I love much like Ed at a panel.
Yeah, he's talking. He says you're like Ed at a panel. Just start talking. Anyway, so I'm going to do a series of hardbacks at Icon for the Jinx World books, and I think that's the format we're going to use.
Excellent. And I wanted to ask to clarify, when you were talking about everything that was coming out at the end of the year,
yes.
when the other Jinx World stuff comes out from Icon, they're all going to have a uniform look?
Yes.
As far as spine
People
or whatever?
like it, I like it, everybody likes it.
Very good.
Yes.
The Kraken. I was just thinking that it had been a while since the last one of these. Thanks in advance, guys. I love listening to them. It was a pleasure finally meeting you at Heroes, Brian.
Yes.
With the elevation of Brother Voodoo, or Dr. Voodoo, to Sorcerer Supreme, you now personally have taken an interest in catapulting 2 black men and 2 women who were never really considered A-list heroes into the big leagues. I think it's great that you've done this, and I hope that Dr. Voodoo turns out to be as interesting and fun to read as Luke Cage or Spider-Woman. There's been a lot of...
Rick Remender was also over here for dinner. We had a little barbecue for Matt.
Cool.
Here at the house, and Rick was beaming how happy he was with the first issue of Dr. Voodoo. So I believe if his enthusiasm, which was very genuine, translates to the page, it will be a very fine book.
Any fan of Fractions, or I'm sorry, any fan of Remender's that has been enjoying his stuff since his Image days knows that, the guy brings it. And, I think Brother Voodoo is perfect for him, Dr. Voodoo.
Hello. And Rick Remender is a huge Frankie Goes to Hollywood fan. That's what I found out tonight. That's a joke for 2 people. So
2 tribes. When they go to war, money's all that you can score.
That's what we were listening to. It was on the radio, and he got very upset.
Great video, though.
It was that song. That was very funny.
Great video with the...
You had a 50-50 chance of getting the song right there.
Well, it was either Relax or 2 Tribes. Remember, though, great scene in the De Palma film. Which film was it again? Where they...
it was Body Double.
Body Double, yes.
Up until the point where I hit puberty, my favorite movie.
Oh, yeah. That's, great naked movie.
I had never seen the Hitchcock movie, so I thought that movie was amazing. I saw Body Double in the theater, and it blew my mind. Swear to God.
Oh, I can understand.
I was
You're
completely
right.
born. Then I saw North by Northwest, and I went, oh.
And To Catch a Thief. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, there's a ton of Hitchcock films in there. Absolutely. I'm sure Matt could rattle off another 5 that we're not thinking
of. Cover band, yeah.
He is, unfortunately.
No, not all the time, but he that movie was.
Well, and even Jonathan Demme does it sometimes, so what are you going to do?
And I remember I had the movie poster up in my room. It said, from the modern master of suspense, even referred to him.
I remember that, too, yeah. Yikes.
Yeah. Never refer to yourself as things like that.
Yeah, that is a little self-congratulating. There's been a lot of discussion about the need for more diversity in superhero comics.
Yeah.
I was just curious if these elevating Luke Cage and Spider-Woman and now Dr. Voodoo, if these things just happen to be characters that you liked, or if you are working more towards diversity, if that was a conscious goal for you.
No, you can't. I have a very diverse family, and I live a diverse life, so I'm sure it has something to do with it. But I think what most importantly is I just don't see it as any big deal. It doesn't matter to me that Brother Voodoo is black or white or whatever. It just doesn't matter. And if you start acting that way, if you start writing that way, or sort of, the comic book version of affirmative action or something, it would come across as fake. It would be, it wouldn't be doing any good for anybody, I don't think. I think it's just a matter of that these characters are interesting, and it doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? But it's part of their character, and that's interesting. And
sure.
Always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I really think the change, especially with Dr. Voodoo, as it elevates him, it makes Steven interesting as, someone that
I think it makes the whole magic landscape of Marvel more interesting.
There you go.
And the fact that, Wade's got a series coming out, Rick's series, and some other stuff we're going to pick up with in Avengers next year. Yeah, it's all more interesting.
Special K. Hey again, John and Brian. Always love and appreciate Word Balloon, the Bendis tapes, and the Bendis books. After the list was announced this past weekend, Tom Brevoort said in an IGN interview that there was originally a 9th one-shot to be included, but that idea was excised. Can you reveal what that story was supposed to be, who it was supposed to be about, or are you saving that puppy for a rainy day?
Yeah, I don't actually know what he was talking about. I was in the room when they kind of put together the teams. We kind of did that in New York, and we were asked for we asked the creators if they wanted to do it, and everyone said yes. So no one said no. So I'm not exactly sure what he's referring. Maybe something they thought of up there when we left, but I don't know.
Paste Pot Pete and the Impossible Man kill each other.
Could have been.
Okay,
could have been.
There you go. Will Stephen Strange and or Dr. Voodoo be team members or supporting characters as New Avengers progresses?
We're going to let him breathe on his own a little bit, and then he's going to come back.
Which he?
That's the best way. He needs to build up.
Which he? Stephen, Dr. Voodoo, or both?
Are they not the same person? I'm just joking.
There you go.
No, Stephen will not be in Avengers. Dr. Voodoo will be popping in and out.
Leaf Insect Man. Hi, John and Brian. Thanks again for doing one of these and for being.
What do you think that name means?
I hate bugs. Another Sydney person, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. So, yeah, bugs zoog me out, so I don't even want to think about it.
Okay.
Hi, Brian and John. Thanks for doing another one of these and for being the super fantastic gentleman that you are. Marvel's been doing an incredible job lately of developing and fleshing out new and interesting characters as well as young heroes and legacy characters. And I really appreciate the effort that Marvel has put into it. I
appreciate how much you appreciate it.
If you guys, you too, John, were to write a team book made up of the best new and younger heroes and legacy characters, who would be your picks? Bonus question for John: ever thought about getting into writing? I've been a writer, covering sports and stuff, so I always have.
And you have you've been frequently published in the pages of Penthouse Forum. And
I'm a sophomore at a small Midwestern college.
No, a lot of people don't know. You invented the phrase, "I never thought it would happen to me."
Never thought these letters were true until the following happened to me.
That was with the great power comes great responsibility of
Penthouse Forum. Yeah, it really is.
Come on, I just said literotica out
loud. The next one's from Lord Retail. He didn't make the deadline, so I thought I'd give him one of my questions.
Just call Lord Retail on the phone. This is a little behind the scenes thing.
Cool.
I meant to say this earlier.
Okay.
All right. So I was thinking of things to do to promote Powers Volume 3, and we really want to come out swinging, and it really came great and everything. So we thought maybe we would do a retailer contest, and whoever puts the best foot forward for Powers, the prize would be the big prize would be that me and Mike would come.
Oh, very nice.
As for free and show up there like this. That's a big deal.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. That's a big deal.
But I thought that let's do that. And then I was riding my bike. I was thinking, well, Lord Retail will probably win because he's crazy. He's a crazy man, and he's a cult leader. He has a cult of people that follow him.
We learned this in part 1. Yes.
So And I'm telling you right now, I don't know anything about the Eisners. I don't know if the Eisners do not give him that award.
Is he up for the Spirit of Light?
Yeah, someone's going to get hurt. You don't understand that these people are nuts. So
he's up against a good Chicago guy, my dear friend Mark Beatty, and I'd be horrible not to mention that. And good luck to both Jermaine and Mark. I respect both of you. I had to say that because he's a friend.
Thanks for grinding my story to a halt. But anyway, we were. So I was thinking, I go. Really, we run this contest, and then Lord Retail would win, and then I would put him through the loop for nothing. Why don't I just call him up and say, hey, guess what? We're coming, because he's asked us 1,000 times.
Oh, that's really nice.
So I called Lord Retail, and I said, and Acme Comics, and somewhere,
yes.
And I said, where is it?
North Carolina.
Greensboro, what? North Carolina. That's where I said I was going. Jesus.
Yeah,
anyways,
really?
I called him up, and I said, hey, tell you what, me and Mike, we're coming to Acme Comics, and he said, yeah, we were just in the middle of a conversation about Vertigo, like I was interrupting him. So I said, well, do you want us to come? He went, oh yeah, I guess, sure, whatever. No, he was putting on his cool voice, being cool. He's being
aloof. Yes,
he's being aloof and coy.
Okay,
but that he's very excited. So we are going to make. Literally, I haven't done a store signing in forever. We're going to show up at Acme Comics in November as soon as we find out the actual scheduled date of Power shipping, which would be in November.
Excellent.
And also, but what's funny is, so Marvel is doing this promotion, and if I have these details wrong, please forgive me. But on August 11th of this year is Marvel's 70th anniversary, and they're doing like a bunch of Barnes and Nobles at the same time, at the same moment. We'll be having some sort of Marvel party.
Oh, great!
And in Portland, we're gonna. Me, Rick Remender, and Jeff Parker will be at the Barnes and Noble in Clackamas, which is a very good one. And I
had Clackamas. Go on.
Well, it's next to an Auntie Anne, so I win either way. Whatever happens, I'm getting pretzels.
All right.
And so we're going to be there for a little. I think my first ever Barnes and Noble situation. So come dressed as Harry Potter and win a prize.
Do you guys speak as well as sign?
I asked to do a Q&A. I think we're going to do it just because I don't think they know what. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I'll have more information later on. But that's
okay.
I'm definitely going to be in a Barnes and Noble.
That's great. Well,
I might be just sitting by the magazines reading.
You'll be in the coffee. You'll be in the
coffee area,
then the Starbucks inside and everything. Yeah.
Me, Rick, and Jeff will be there 7 o'clock on August 11th at Barnes and Noble.
Terrific.
There you go. What was the question?
That was a good question. No, that actually covered things because the question that he gave to Lord Retail was a question that we already answered in part one, which was if you had a good time at Heroes Con, which we covered.
I did have a good time. And I told you my best time was watching Lord Retail run his cult. I've never actually seen that in live in person.
Kubrick, 1978. Thanks once again for this. I can't wait until Spider-Woman comes out. You've turned her into my second favorite Marvel character behind Daredevil.
But who knew she was British?
What?
We released the trailer, and she has a slight British accent because she's born in England and lived in England as a child. And because there are people on the internet who did not know this information, I'm a dick. I am an unholy dick from Dickland.
Well, either you or Casada will get the blame for that.
And then they would go to Wikipedia, look it up, and lo and behold, there it is in black and white Wikipedia. So she's British, and because I don't write her to sound like Dick Van Dyke in the Mary Poppins movie, I clearly don't know anything at all ever in the history of the world. And what the hell am I doing in the
Was that little kernel covered in the Luna Brothers origin story?
Yes.
All right.
It's covered everywhere.
You see,
it's covered in the 70s. It's covered in the origin story. It's covered in the short-lived cartoon.
That gives me an opportunity to give a shout-out to Joshua and Jonathan, who are great guys and wonderful artists, and the sword is awesome.
This weekend, actually.
Oh, very cool, man. I have not talked to Jonathan forever, and shame on me, and I should do that very soon.
Yes. I'd like to work with them again.
That would be great, man. They are wonderful artists. Do you have any rules for pacing action scenes, and when do you think is the best time to change a scene?
Well, the rule of changing a scene, of scene transition is, and this is one I do hold by, is get in late and leave early. That's the best way to do it. The scene should already been going on, and as soon as the point of your scene has been said, get out. Don't hang around for one-liners. Don't dilly-dally. Move on. And that is words to live by, right, Matt Fraction? Yeah, he's getting sleepy.
Nodding emphatically.
And so as far as the rules of the choreography of an action scene, it depends on the action scene. Of course, it could be very different for a group fight versus, a Spider-Man or Daredevil. It really depends on the people and how they fight. There's a certain bounce to a Spider-Man fight, for kind of high flying. You know what I mean?
Sure. And
with the group things, I kind of tend to choreograph them like war movies, like battles. Like, even though everyone is trained and everyone has a power set, when you throw 10 people in a room at full blast, it's going to be madness and chaos. And I've seen some people react very harshly to seeing that on the page, but that's been the instruction for some of my artists, that like if there's a rumble, that it should feel like a rumble. It shouldn't feel like like a dance. Like a lot of times we think of like Jackie Chan movies, which are really ballet movies, and they're cool, but that only works for certain types of fight scenes.
Do you ever, as a shortcut, just like have the big 2-page splash of let's throw everybody on there and just...
No.
Okay.
Frank Cho asked me to do that for him.
Okay.
Here, give me 5 pages for a fight scene. Don't worry about it. And Jesus Christ, I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll write a fight scene, the artist will do something else, but still get us to the same place,
Sure.
But without describing all the elements that I thought were important, I didn't think there was. How do you get to the important part? How do you get to the big finale if you don't know all the pieces that got there? So, and it just made me feel better. I said, here, I'll write it up, do whatever you want. I don't know how to get to this last bit without having worked it out in my head, a version of this. And then that's another interesting thing about the Indiana Jones movies is that,
the final scene?
Yeah, he'll make it up. He'll get there. We had it planned out. They had a storyboard. And he looks around and he comes up with other stuff. And some of it's the stuff you remember the most.
Orson Welles always talked about that in his interviews, happy accidents, and having a plan and then discovering something while you're shooting that turns out to be, like you said, the most memorable thing. Let's see. Lastly, what do you think are the best movie scripts made and not made?
The best movie scripts made and not made. I've read a few movie scripts that were excellent that were never made. I remember...
How about Harlan Ellis's script that he said in Hollywood would never buy? I always meant to read that, and I still haven't. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, he's a little full of himself.
Really? By the way, there's another good documentary.
What?
That Ellison...
Harlan Ellison full of himself?
No, you know, what Dreams with Sharp Teeth.
Okay, yeah.
It was excellent.
He's a fascinating man, but any run-in with him in real life is weird. I've told that story.
Oh, yeah.
House, right?
Yep.
Okay. I read one called The Crowded Room that James Cameron was going to make years ago, and it was about a multiple personality, a person with multiple personalities, and how the personalities all manifested itself. It wasn't too far off from what ended up being that movie about the hotel with John Cusack. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, yes.
I don't mean to ruin that movie for anybody who hasn't seen it in the last 7 years, but it ended up that it was all in the guy's mind. But it was like that. It was called The Crowded Room. And there's also one called The Ticking Man I remember reading that I love. And also David Lynch had quite a few screenplays that never got made, including one called One Saliva Bubble that was really, really good. Written for Steve Martin, and really about someone blew a saliva. Someone was in a nuclear power plant, a guard in a nuclear power plant.
Okay.
Was blowing saliva bubbles, and one bubble just floated down into the core, and it caused a little glitch, and the town completely turned upside down because of it. And it was a really good movie. It was written for Steve Martin. That's true.
Interesting.
And I just read, and it's floating on the internet, and anyone can get it. I just read Aaron Sorkin's Facebook script. That is great. fantastic.
About Facebook or
It's about the creation, how Facebook came about.
Interesting.
And supposedly some of it's true, some of it's not true. That this guy, this Ben Mesrick, who also wrote the 21 thing.
Yes.
Who, because I was working on the HBO show about the Blackjack guys, I read all his books, and he's a terrible, terrible writer.
The Kevin Spacey movie, for people who don't know what we're talking about.
Book, he just has a Facebook book out where the Entertainment Weekly Review said that you can't believe a journalist uses the words, "One could imagine the following happened."
Oh, that's not. Wow, that's like when it.
Well, he did it in the Blackjack book too, and I'm like, am I nuts? Is that the worst thing you could write? Did you research this or not?
Yeah, no, that's like when Edwin Morris did Reagan biography and put himself in the biography in 1914 with Reagan.
Hey, listen, he got his Blackjack movie made. My TV show is sitting in a garbage can somewhere. But anyway, so there's this Facebook.
Sorkin movie,
Aaron Sorkin in his full powers of West Wing coolness, writing how these kids put together a Facebook and all the fallout and damage, and it was great.
That reminds me of that wonderful television movie with Noah Wiley and...
No, it's better than that.
Well, I like Pirates of Silicon Valley. I'm serious. I know it's a TV movie, but I think... Well, now you see, I guess I've diminished my recommendation about the Three Stooges movie now that I made to you the other day. I honestly like Pirates of Silicon Valley. I thought it was very fun. But I'm sure Sorkin is a little more weighty than that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, a little better.
You think?
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh in your face.
No, that was...
I just actually pointed at you and laughed.
Part of the comedy, kid. Don't kid yourself. That's quite all right. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, why do you think Why do you think the press is beating the shit out of it so much?
I have no idea because
I'm fascinated by why Entertainment Weekly dedicated half a page to talk about a failure it was, even though it was the number one movie at the box office.
Exactly.
It made all its money back in 5 days.
Yep.
And meanwhile, like Public Enemies is never going to make its money back. It's very interesting. I found it interesting that Borat was all anti-Semitic jokes, and and that's funny, but sex is not funny. Boy, some people just cannot laugh at sex, and it's just crazy.
Well, I'm halfway through Mel Brooks's biography, and he got the same kind of shit for Blazing Saddles, and a lot of respected critics just didn't get it. And meanwhile, the audiences did, and luckily that saved his film career. So after the 12 Chairs, definitely.
Interesting that when you can feel like someone's being gunned at,
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah.
Very interesting. And then there's nothing to gun for. I mean, like Land of Lost tanked huge. Where's the article about that? No.
Thankfully.
Bruno's going to get dug in,
Yeah. Oh, no, and I think...
You're thankful that Land of Lost tanked?
Quite frankly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate to quote Adam Carolla, but he's right. It was a shit TV show. Why would you think it'd be a good movie? And I got to be honest, getting a little tired of Will Ferrell doing the same goddamn thing every summer. Enough. There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that'll get back to Will. Yeah, cancel Word Balloon, will you?
Yeah, that's it.
Fuck that guy. Homer Gator. That time again, huh? All right. My question for both of you, what is your favorite surprise reveal that you've read in comics? For instance, Zorn is really Magneto, Elektra is a Skrull, etc.
I liked Elektra as a Skrull. That was good on.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, I'm thinking too.
I'll tell you, the one time I actually was so shocked that I threw a comic book across the room was, I think it's Black Kiss number 4, when the
Howard Chaykin
chick had a dick.
Yeah, that was creepy.
I was really young, and I never seen anything like that. I didn't even know that existed, so that scared the shit out of me. Now, no big deal.
Every day.
Another chick with a dick. What are you going to do?
Yeah, there you go. Training.
At the time, I got to tell you, that I did go, what, but the who, and threw it across the room.
No, I remember being a little disturbed, and I know Fraction has talked about American Flag disturbing him as well with the swastikas over boobs and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think Howard's disturbed us all in our childhood.
Hey, Matt, get on the phone.
Has he got one?
It's swastika boob talk. Yeah, he's got. Hello, what are we talking about? So tell him the question.
They asked for what is your favorite surprise reveal you've ever read in comics? And Brian just mentioned Black Kiss with the chick having a dick, and that immediately made me think of your encounters with Chaykin.
Oh, yeah. When Chaykin revealed that he was the chick with the dick to me, yeah.
No, that.
it's
not an attractive woman.
Yeah, no, he's a very ugly woman.
Hey, pal, how you doing?
Hey, guy.
Yeah.
Favorite reveals in comics?
Oh, I was thinking. Well, I was thinking of your American flag stuff about seeing boobies, even though there were swastikas on them or whatever.
Yeah, the whole that he goes ahead and sleeps with the Nazi, and then later is like, God, I hate myself. like, wait a minute. Yeah, I hate this. Yeah,
and I was worried because now Matt can't even
get
an erection without
exactly. Now I have to actually physically be strangling somebody with a Nazi flag to even become aroused or feel anything like human contact.
He doesn't have an answer.
I'm thinking what you guys keep
vamping until you come up with something.
I'm vamping so I can.
I don't know if this
putting
is
chicks with dicks in my head.
This isn't a surprise, and forgive the DC reference in a Marvel conversation, but really, Blackest Night I really enjoyed, even though I knew it was coming.
I haven't read it yet. Don't.
Okay, it was fun seeing the characters interact, and I will leave it at that. Then
there's what, To the Stars? What is the classic EC story that sort of feels a lot like a Twilight Zone? And it was controversial in its day. The astronaut at the end takes the helmet off and reveals that he's a black man.
Sure. I don't know the title, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want to say it was To the Stars, but all of my EC books are in boxes now. That's sort of a class. The EC ones are sort of masters. Like all those the EC stories were.
Yeah, really.
Terrific.
All those like kind of O. Henry endings to all the Tales of the Crypt stuff. Yeah.
Reveals and all that stuff.
Well, I've got one. The Thunderbolts revealing themselves to be the Masters of Evil back in the day. When it was Zemo and all those guys, I thought that was an interesting surprise. Was that Busick?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that book couldn't exist today with the internet. That book like that, I don't think.
Surprises obviously have their issues with the internet, as I'm sure you gentlemen are familiar.
Who does?
Just surprises in stories.
We talked about that with the Electra Scroll thing. To pull that off, we literally had to tell 4 people because it would leak, and things leaked before, and Hawkeye, Echo was Ronin leaked online.
Yep.
Through a Avengers, encyclopedia book, and things just leak, so they're impossible. And we talked about. I mean, the biggest shock I ever had in mainstream comics was when Electra got killed. That shocked the shit out of me, and to try to give that feeling to people today it's maddening. It's worth it, and I've done it a couple times. But it is not to that level. But you know what I mean? It's like, haha, I gotcha. It's a shocker. You know what I mean? It's hard to do. But I do remember reading that and shitting my pants.
You just reminded me of another one, and I just talked to Jerry Conway about it. And I was 9 years old when he killed Gwen Stacy, and man, that blew my mind. That crack. I'm 44.
I was 44 years old when Gwen Stacy died.
And now being 97, I can look back fondly.
That's about the first sentence of every hate letter I've ever gotten, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know that it's possible to do. I mean, big level. I mean, like Brian said, 4 people knew about the Electra thing. When I came in during Civil War, there were things that they could tell me about, things that they couldn't tell me about.
No, it's because the people leak. And
it was so. Oh, I remember I had been at the company. Like I got the War Journal gig 3 or 4 days, and something leaked. I don't remember what, but I got like a phone call at like 9 in the morning because I was brand new. It was one of those things where like they knew like, well, there are 4 new kids, so let's talk to them and see if anybody's talked to anybody.
The best part of my job now is that when shit like that happens, they know it's not me. Like I don't have to be asked.
Yeah, I don't get those calls
because I remember like years ago. Like 2001, 2002, something really bad leaked, and you get that call, and you do feel like you've done something wrong, and you're thinking, did my wife tell a hairdresser or something? You're like, but listen, God bless, we live in a world where there's twisted British bloggers looking for things to type, and he's doing the public good. He's doing God's work, leaking shit.
It was one of those things. Yeah, I told a friend of my dad something the other day, and it just as we were working on pouring concrete, like tearing up old sidewalk, and it came up like, what are you up to now, and where are you going, and something that isn't even close to being announced. I was like, oh, and this is going to happen later, and then it was one of those things where I had to say, Now, you
Dad.
can't mention this to your buddy's cousin, sister's friend who, like,
But then what happens?
The kid's gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
Yeah, but what happens is they look at you like, oh, is that worth something?
Hello, Entertainment
They weren't
Tonight.
going to say anything until you said something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I like that one time that it turned out that the Green Goblin wasn't dead. That was a shocker.
He's not dead?
Excellent. There we go. He flies off in the night.
Yeah, he had nothing.
No, that was that was good.
Now he has to sit here in shame.
Way to
No,
go,
he didn't.
Matt.
He had nothing.
Page 2.
All right, let's do a couple more, and then I gotta go.
Okay. No, we've had a quality jaunt.
I actually have a big Thor movie meeting tomorrow, and I have to finish. I have 40 more pages of script to read.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's cool. Svedi from Fairfield, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Mr. Bendis and Mr. Sanchez, for doing these. I really enjoy listening to them on my way to work. Thank you, Svedi. You're not alone. In the upcoming ongoing, will we see any old friends of Jessica Drews from her early days of Spider-Woman, such as Jerry Hunt?
You just thought of one?
That's the one that Svedi is specifying, actually.
Matt's got one. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I recently in Morrison's Batman run.
Yes.
Get off the phone.
That he pulled the Zur and R thing together. Like it was so well done. I thought that was terrific, and it was genuinely moved that he tied it all together. That it wasn't just like a nonsense phrase, that it had a kind of a connective thread into everything, and that last page of Batman R.I.P. really was that's a great reveal for. Brian's giving me this.
I just like how you're getting smaller and smaller as you're explaining yourself, Matt. Go ahead.
Say it again?
No, you were decreasing in size as you were justifying
that. You sound like the computer in 2001 as he's pulling out all
Daisy.
And then...
I'm afraid.
I'm sorry. This should never see the light of day. I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna get back on the phone.
It's all in, pal. I love that. I like watching Matt self-destruct. That was fun. All right, we're moving on. Jerry Hunt is covered, Svedi. Don't worry. Will we get to see Wonder Man again in the pages of your adventure books anytime soon?
Yes.
Thanks again for taking
that seed is planted. You can go back and look. I think issue 50 or 51.
Always happy to see Simon back.
Planted. And he's also showing up in this Dark Reign Lethal Legion, which I haven't read. I don't have anything to do with it. But
is that Frank Thierry's book?
Frank fucking Thierry. Yeah.
Is that how he talks?
What?
I haven't had the pleasure yet. Is that how?
Frank Thierry. Hey, I told that fucking Punisher to kick that fucking Spider-Man's ass, was fucking douchebag. That is exactly how he talks.
I like him already.
He was at the New York Con, and he was swearing like a Marine. And
I'm surprised I missed him.
A mother took a kid and ran out of the out of the panel. The whole place burst out laughing, and of course he goes, "Hey, lady, something I said." And does it, and only with that voice can you get away with that material.
That's awesome. He's like Jimmy Breslin.
You know how like Stan Lee, there came up a little, I'd be bashful Brian Bendis, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Faction. It'd be fucking Frank Thierry.
Jesse, John Romita, and Frank fucking Thierry.
Frank Thierry.
Yorick Brown. Thanks for doing this. Brian, Powers is my favorite. Okay, we've just done this. Yorick, you've already gotten your timeline for Powers releases.
Yes. A lot of people have been asking me on Twitter and everything, too, and I feel
sure.
I'm not getting the word out enough for November. November. It's done. In the can.
Oh, and now here's something Matt could probably chime in on. What music are you listening to these days? Anything knocking your socks off?
What music am I and Matt Fraxton listening to these days? I loved Regina Spektor's album, Far. Absolutely loved it.
Cool.
I can't recommend it high enough. I listened to it maybe 7 times, and for a father of 2, that is a major commitment.
Very
Matt
cool.
Fraxton, what are you listening to?
The new Future Left record is really good. The Pendulum is really good. I've listened to a lot of Prince again lately.
Because Prince is on the cover of Spin magazine and he does it.
No, I was never a Michael Jackson fan.
No, I was.
So in retaliation of Michael dying,
I got my ass kicked in Chicago, like for not being a Michael Jackson fan.
I
was
believe that.
the only like I was in second grade. Like I don't get it. I'm not. And I got my ass.
But what was weird, it was in 1998.
Yes, it was great.
Oh, excellent.
It was dangerous, Michael Jackson. But when he died,
This is for Dirty
I went
Diana.
on Twitter like, hey, let's all go listen to Purple Rain. It's just a better album. So I still maintain it's a better album.
Oh God.
13th Floor Elevators. Yeah, that's really.
Hey, I saw there's a new MGMT album coming out. Is that a new
really?
album? I saw a new release for next week. Is that a new album?
I don't know.
I don't either.
It's Matt turned me on to MGMT.
There's apparently a double disc Flaming Lips record and a new Beastie Boys disc coming out at the end of the summer, beginning of
very
fall.
Excited.
Cool.
Middle-aged, white rapping. What you want?
They got more gray hair than I do. Absolutely. On my balls. All right.
They were on what's that idiot show? Jimmy Fallon show.
That is an idiot show. Go on.
They were great.
Well, that's
They were
good for Jimmy Fallon for having something entertaining on his show. Go on.
They were great. I mean, they're a terrible interview. They're the worst interview.
He sucks ass.
But he has the Roots, and the Roots is maybe the best band in the world. And if you want to hear a great Roots album,
yes,
Jay-Z Unplugged. Jay-Z did an unplugged album with the Roots as his band. It's great.
Wow.
You never heard it?
No.
I have it here. You'll learn it. It
Cool.
is
That's terrific.
great.
Wow.
It's like not. You don't have to listen to Jimmy Fallon. It's just.
All right. I definitely feel old in this conversation, but I will move on.
You have Tommy Dorsey.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, yeah, exactly. Now I'm enjoying Neil Diamond's Solitary Man, actually.
Yeah, and Henry Mancini, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Absolutely. Nice.
I started to go through a bunch of RJD2 stuff, too. I went back with Mad Men about to start up again, and they did the opening music for Mad Men as an RJD2 song. I think it's RJD2 anyway, but because that's what I've been listening to. So now watching them end up having been wrong at somebody else. But all right, that's all I got. That's it. That's
all right. Let's wrap it up with that.
Fair enough.
Goodbye.
There we go. We appreciate the cameo from young Matt Fraction.
I wish it was.
It was an extended cameo.
I wish it was better.
No, again, man, watching you shrink like Ray Palmer was a pleasure.
Well, I really like that part at the end when,
And
wow.
Good luck with the move.
Hey, where's Casanova?
Good question.
Really cool email. So Casanova's coming soon.
Casanova's coming to an email near you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to email it to all the readers one at a time.
Outstanding.
I don't know. I'll be seeing the Twins in San Diego, so we're going to talk schedule.
Oh, that's great, man. Excellent. Yeah, I hope we have more information on that when we do a full-fledged conversation.
Yeah.
And
when's Tony Stark going to get his shit back?
No, never. Have you read it? It's grimmer and grimmer.
Indeed. No, it's a lot of fun, and we'll talk about
Black
that at
Lantern now. Sorry, kids.
There you go. And Brian will pick up this conversation in 6 months or so. No, we're a couple.
Oh, no, we're not done yet, right?
We're at question 43, sir.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Exactly. The cameo was appreciated, but yeah, that kind of But again, Matt, everyone always asks to hear jam sessions with cameos, so this was great.
And you never know what you're going to get.
Thanks for playing, boys. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
God bless you,
Bye,
sir.
John.
Thanks again for listening. John Suntress reminding you that Word Balloon is all over the internet at our homepage, wordballoon.com. We're at iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to our RSS feed. And check out our archive at wordballoon.com, where you'll find well over 200 other interviews with comic creators, television people, film people. Really interesting stuff going back to 2005. All those interviews waiting for you at wordballoon.com. Questions or comments about the show, reach me via email, john@wordballoon.com. You can come to the Word Balloon message board. Click on the link at wordballoon.com. It's hosted by Jinx World. Also, you can reach me through Twitter, John Word Balloon, and, of course, my Facebook page as well. Until next time, thanks for listening. Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions, copyright 2009.